Smart 24, driving business.
Hello there, a very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning into Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. This is Financial Markets, and my name is Anthony Sabali. Welcome, and of course, I hope you're relaxed and ready for the ride. Today, we have a lot in store for you. And first of all, we're going to be looking at Stanbic Bank, Uganda. That is, of course, the Chief Executive Officer, Madam Anjuko, who is set for a regional job at the moment as we speak. Standard Bank's Group Regional Chief Executive Officer of the East African platform, that is Patrick Mohere, tells us about how the current position is going to be handled by Madam Anjuko. We'll also be looking at some of the financial gains there from the Uganda Stock Exchange and the Nairobi Stock Exchange, as well as news coming in from the rest of Africa stock exchanges. But first, let's have a look at the Uganda Stock Exchange. Well, we are around the Christmas season, and around this time, lots of things are happening. The year is winding down, many targets to be met. I hope you are as well trying to meet your targets as an investor and try to see if you started the year with a portfolio of 1 million. Yes, let's say you started the year with a portfolio of 1 million. That was the money you were willing to invest at that point in time. How have you grown that money? Have you added some value to that money? Or the money has actually lost value? Or you've actually spent that money? Or you're heading out for Christmas to spend that money? All that is in question. And definitely it's that time of the year where we assess ourselves by our financial disciplines and have a look at how are we handling our finances, how are we going by in terms of financial literacy, how have you improved in terms of financial knowledge, your knowledge of investment, has it also gone up? Have you tried to try new things? Have you made new investments? Have you got to other people to ask them how they do it? Have you got to interact with big people in the big rooms? That's exactly what we need at the moment if we are to at least make a better year next year. So that is something you look up to, and hopefully something that you will be able to handle before the close of the year. Well, as per the Uganda Securities Exchange, there's been trading yesterday, Wednesday. That was the last day for trading this week so far. And at the end of the day's session, we had a total of 6,047,717 shares that were traded, closing off the day with a corresponding value of 100.2 million. And compared with the previous day, that was Tuesday, 19th, the data shows a 73% decline in the volume and a 78% decline in the turnover. Current market capitalization is at 15.7 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, in aggregate, at least 4 Uganda Securities Exchange listed equities participated in trade, with the day ending with 2 gainers and 6 losers on the market. The 2 big gainers were KCB Group with a 0.94% appreciation in price, and MTN Uganda with a price appreciation of 0.62%. These were the 2 big firms for the day. And on the losing side, we had quite a number of them, including Centum Investments Limited, which at least lost value of 4.57%, down to 198.41 shillings. And East African Breweries Limited as well, losing 1.23% in the day, down to a price of 2,682 shillings. The Equity Bank Limited stock as well lost value of 0.52%, down to 868.86 Ugandan shillings. NMG, or Nation Media Group, at least lost about 0.35%, down to 488.70. Jubilee Holdings Limited stock at least lost 0.1% of value, down to 4,496 shillings. And Kenya Airways at least lost 0.10%, down to 93.59 Ugandan shillings. Well, this is like an outlook for the markets as we currently see them. The top participants were 3 in number, including Umeme, Bank of Baroda, MTN Uganda. And the 4th was Uganda Clays, coming in the 4th position in terms of the traded volumes. Well, Bank of Baroda Uganda had the biggest share of the volume, And Bank of Baroda traded at least 6 million shares at a value of 15 Ugandan shillings per share, closing off the day. And when you look at the MTN Uganda stock, at least 12,217 shares were traded, and this was closing off the day with a price of 171 Ugandan shillings per share. Uganda Clays Limited at least had 11,500 shares that were traded at exactly 13 Ugandan shillings closing price on Wednesday rather. Umeme recorded 20,000 shares at 400 Ugandan shillings per share closing off the day. Well, that's pretty much it from the Uganda Stock Exchange market participants. But let's have a look at the details here of the gainer, MTN Uganda. MTN Uganda is one of the two telecommunications companies that are listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Well, with the leading emerging market operator connecting subscribers in over 22 countries in East Africa and in the Middle East, MTN is listed on JSE in South Africa, on Nigeria Stock Exchange, on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and as well on the Uganda Securities Exchange, which I believe is the most recent listing for the telecom. As of June 30th, 2017, MTN in general recorded at least 232 million subscribers across Africa and Middle East, and it's other operations in Afghanistan, Benin, Liberia, and so many other countries. MTN Uganda got listed on the USE on the 6th of December 2021, and the company boasts now of a market capitalization of 3.83 trillion Ugandan shillings, which makes it the most valuable company on the Uganda Stock Exchange, currently representing 24.4% of the entire market, equity market on the USE. MTN Uganda on the third day of trading this week at least traded 12,217 shares at a value of 2.09 million shillings. The company now has 22.4 billion shares outstanding and 3.83 trillion market capitalization. In the longer run, in the last weekday, when you look at their closing price, 171, they were gainers, as I mentioned earlier. But then when you look at the beginning of the year, MTN began the year with 180.0 Ugandan shillings. And at 171 currently, it makes a year-to-date loss of 5%. And that makes it the 8th in terms of year-to-date performance on the exchange. In terms of the traded volumes, MTN Uganda is the 4th most traded on stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange over the past quarter. From the 19th of September to the 20th of December, they have traded a volume of at least 8.37 million shares in the current market shares, and valued at 1.43 billion Ugandan shillings turnover. They're still amongst the top turnover companies in terms of trading on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, with an average of 132,908 shares that are traded per trading session, they have had a volume high of 2.73 million shares in November 23rd, within this particular period. When you look at the previous days of trading, on Tuesday, they had 262,000 shares. On Monday, they had 2,520 shares. On Friday last week, 1,100 shares. Pretty much every single day, we have some trading, some bit of liquidity. And this is what we are looking for on the exchange. We're looking for liquidity. We're looking for investors who are willing to trade shares, not those who are holding them for a very, very long time without trading, because that is to the detriment of the exchange. That's exactly why stocks like MTN are very, very valuable to the exchange. Currently, like I mentioned earlier, it is the #1 most valuable on the exchange with the biggest market capitalization of over 3.83 trillion Ugandan shillings. That is MTN Uganda for you there. When looking at other top gainers, we had KCB Group with a gain of 0.94%. But as usual, this gain was not out of some sort of performance on the exchange. There are other factors like the foreign exchange rates and trading on the primary stock exchange, which is Kenya or Nairobi Stock Exchange, that influenced the market movement or price movement for some of these stocks. That's why KCB Group moved to a value of at least 471.60 Ugandan shillings per share as per yesterday. Well, the top performers as well in terms of the movement of the market will Bank of Baroda. Well, for Bank of Baroda now, currently it is the 11th most valuable stock. A lot has been happening at Bank of Baroda most recently, and one of the highlights for the year for Bank of Baroda this year, in the month of June, they were able to issue a bonus share or bonus issue. And this bonus issue came as a result of the company seeking to raise their minimum capital requirements after the Bank of Uganda reviewed the minimum capital requirements of all commercial banks or Tier 4 lending institutions. Now, this was an appeal from the Ministry of Finance as well to seek the resilience of the banking institutions or the banking sector against shocks such as the COVID-19 pandemic and other probable shocks in the future. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Honorable Minister Kasaija, mentioned that the banking institutions' minimum capital requirements were set to be lifted from 25 billion to 150 billion by the year 2024, and many banking institutions started their journey of seeking out more capital. Now, Bank of Baroda is one of those that had dire need for capital, and instead of looking for lenders or other investments or private equity, they sought to issue more shares and probably hoped to get some extra capital. Now, this affected their price imminently, and when you look at their price here at current market prices of 15 Ugandan shillings per share on average, the company has at least lost a value of 82% in terms of year-to-date performance. Since on average, since the beginning of the year, they were at least trading at 85 Ugandan shillings. That makes the company currently the one of the most traded on stocks, however, and this is because of the subsidized price and increased market activity for the stock since listing these bonus shares. The past 3 months have seen the company trade 123 million shares. These are valued at 1.84 billion Ugandan shillings over the period, with an average of 1.95 million per trading session, which is also a very record high volume there for every single particular trading day. Bank of Baroda Uganda, at least within still the last quarter, has 1.84 billion shillings traded for the period, with an average of the 1.95 million shares that have been traded every single trading session. And when you look at the past, in the past 2 days, on the 19th, that was on Tuesday, at least over 18.762 million shares were traded on Tuesday, and that makes the firm one of the really biggest investors within the land. And that gives you a picture of how much traction the company is having on the ground and seeking more and more support from the public through capital markets is the way to go for many companies. The Capital Markets Authority always says that the primary role of capital markets is to raise capital. And without raising capital, really the stock exchange would be very pointless. There would be no point in having a stock exchange. But with the fact that now we have a stock market, we can raise capital. If you are a business out there and you think you're worthy of capital, you want to expand, you want to grow your business, you want to export, you want to do certain things, different in your business, then the capital markets is really the way to go. But also remember, the capital markets come with the burden of transparency, honesty, with the burden of open-mindedness, because you're now having lots of other people that are having stake within your company. Besides the board of directors, besides the private investors and private equity holders, you have these people in the public who have invested their money in the company, and they think probably within the next few months, within the next few years, they will be able to get some value. So how do you create that value? That's a big question, and that's where the stock exchange really, really comes in so strong, to see that you have transparency in your company as well. You have accountability. One of the things that they look out for is accountability. You must be able to have at least financial statements every now and then. Every quarter, you've seen MTN Uganda issue statements every quarter, and that's a policy, for openness and for you to try to actually get to see how you actually grow your company. Now, besides Bank of Baroda, Uganda, Stanbic Bank Uganda also had some value here. No, Stanbic actually did not trade yesterday. However, there is some news here that is encouraging in as far as Stanbic Bank is concerned, and that is the fact that Standard Bank Group's regional chief executive for East Africa, Mr. Patrick Mohere, has told us in an exclusive interview that after a stellar performance as the first female chief executive officer of Uganda's largest commercial bank, Anjuko deserves bigger responsibility within the group, and she will be taking on a regional job there at Stanbic Bank. She has achieved a lot in as far as Stanbic is concerned, a profit growth of over 75% in the past 3 years. The capital has grown. The total assets under management for the bank have also grown. The bank's commitment to financial literacy has also been expanding during her tenure. So, to say the least, she deserves it. She deserves it, and we're really, really happy for her, and we hope she has a very wonderful time as well at the new job that she's going to be taking on. Now, moving on to Nairobi Securities Exchange, NSE. Nairobi Securities Exchange is the busiest and the biggest stock exchange within East Africa, and has one of the biggest stocks trading within the East African market, with cross-listed firms across all the other stock exchanges in East Africa. Now, on Wednesday, at the end of the trading session, there was a total of 9.2 million shares and in a number of 758 deals that were made, corresponding to a market value of at least 158 million Kenyan shillings. Compared with the previous trading day, the data shows an improvement of a decline of 37% in the volume, and at least a total decline of 29% in the turnover and 13% decline in the deals. The current market capitalization is at 1.42 trillion Kenyan shillings. Now, in aggregate, out of the 66 listings, 42 firms that are listed participated in trading, and at least 18 gainers were witnessed, with 12 losers as well on the market. Liberty Kenya Holdings led the gainers with at least a gain of 9.59% share in appreciation in share price, closing off at 4.0 Kenyan shillings per share. We also had Cape CB Group appreciate as well, with a total gain of 7.9%, and Ever Ready East Africa at 7.21% appreciation, and Kenya Power and Lighting Company at least 6.52%. On the losing side, Standard Group at least came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.95%, and this was closing off at 7.06 Kenyan shillings per share. eGuards at least lost 5.54%, whereas other firms like the Captura Tea Company also had a couple of losses there on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. When you look at some of the top stories coming in from Nairobi, there's been a lot of debate on the dryness of the IPOs in Kenya, with the last firm to be listed with the last listing actually being a real estate income trust. And there's been a lot of reviews and changes within the Nairobi Securities Exchange to enable the market to move and to enable the market to actually grow. So currently, when you look at the performances of the different stock exchanges, there's been also a total drop, a very big drop in terms of turnovers, and a drop in the value of the indices there on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. However, there has been also improvements, especially by the CMA of Kenya, and as well as the Nairobi Securities Exchange. One of them being the adjustment in the rules. The rules of listings before actually required a company to have, within the last 5 years of performance, at least 3 profitable years. That was pretty tight, and that could be one of the factors that could actually keep away many businesses, because They've been operating in a very difficult environment. Inflation, foreign exchange rates going up, with the Kenyan shilling weakening so highly against the dollar. And that aside, there's been a lot of pressure, economic pressure coming in from the macros. That wasn't favoring the markets to grow. Neither was it favoring new investors as well to invest within the stocks. So the rules have been adjusted, and now, at least within the last 5 years, you are only required to have one single year of profitability, and that is enough for you to go ahead and get to list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, which is pretty interesting. Hopefully, we can also have some of those adjustments here in Uganda as well. I mean, okay, we've had a few IPOs here and there, Airtel being the most recent one, and MTN Uganda, of course. But there's still more to do. There's so many big corporations that have spent in the country over 50, 100 years, and they are not listed. Why would that be? Why would a firm, honestly speaking, that has spent 70 years in the country and is one of the biggest conglomerates, not list on the exchange? Why not? Because this is the way we will be able to grow the market. This is the way we will be able to influence our growth and actually encourage more new investments within our markets. However, that aside, Nairobi has still been resilient and maintained a very much higher position in terms of trade. And recently, there's also been improvements in the performance of the growth enterprise market segment, where we have small stocks like Captura Tea Company and a couple of others that have been cropping up very recently in terms of gains and performances. So that aside, there's much more to expect from Nairobi, given the fact that it's the oldest stock exchange, listing since 1954. And so there's much more we expect from Nairobi Stock Exchange at the moment. Looking at the indices here, regarding the performance of the benchmark index, the All-Share Index climbed yesterday by 0.38 points, closing at 90.37 points, representing a 1-week loss of 3.14% and a 4-week loss of 0.43%, and yet an overall year-to-date loss of 29.1%. Other remarkable indices that performed were the NSE 10 share index with a 0.55% appreciation in price, and the NSE 20, which tracks the top 20 stocks, with an appreciation of 0.64%, whereas the NSE 25 at least added 0.5% on their performance track there on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. That's pretty much it from Nairobi, and hopefully we'll be giving you more updates there in our squeeze back. If you want more information of the companies that are trading and how much they are trading at, please keep tuned on Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business, and we say our business is your business and your business is our business. Now, as we come to the end, just a humble reminder, the year is closing in and lots of things are happening. Make sure you're looking at your portfolio in a multi-dimensional way. Things have changed. Last week, I shared with you about the treasury bond market. There is a possibility that you can invest 100 million today, and in the next 20 years, you get 3 billion shillings. It is there. And this is with the coupon rate that is currently the highest in the land and in the history of the treasury bond market, over 18.5% on this particular treasury bond. You can find this treasury bond across all the different markets in the primary dealers, there's the banking institutions, or you can go to the stockbrokers as well and fund managers. All these people can help you get access to some of these markets. But bottom line is, you must be ready and you must be in a position that you're going to make money out of your savings. There's nothing as dumb as in the 21st century having money on a dormant account that's not adding any value to it. You'd rather put it in a fixed deposit. I mean, the banks have fixed deposit accounts. These accounts yield a little bit of interest. You could use a unit trust, which is one of the easiest and quickest ways people are making money today. You simply grab your phone, you go to your fund manager, they grab some money and you keep it on a certain account. They invest it with the other people's money. It makes profit. The profit comes back to your account. Easy peasy, simple as as that, and you're going to actually have a very much happier life and a much stabler or a more stable financial situation within the year 2024. That's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, and just a few days to Christmas Day. Hopefully you're having a good time with your family and friends. From Smart 24 TV family, we're saying Merry Christmas. Have a very wonderful time with family, and of course enjoy your Christmas season, and Happy New Year. My name is Anthony. I'll catch you next time. Have a good night. Bye for now.